Good afternoon, Philly. Yeah. Good afternoon, Philly. Good afternoon. There we go. How is everyone enjoying the summit? Okay. Thanks for the love. What was your favorite session so far? This ain't even start yet, but I appreciate it. I appreciate that, sis. What was your favorite session so far? DJ Kev. Okay. Shout out to Kev.
Shout out Kev.
Metaverse. So good. Any others? Any other favorites so far? One more? Okay, so everybody else is your first session here. All good. So welcome to this session, Cash for Content, How to Capitalize in the Creator Economy. How many people here consider themselves as creators by show of hands? How many people here generate revenue from the content they post on social media by show of hands? How many people generated at least 6 figures? Maybe 7? Okay, not yet. Okay, some people in the back. Okay, but we're gonna learn today how to get to that level. Hold on, let me ask you guys this question. Are you familiar with the creator economy by show of hands? So anybody not familiar but interested in learning more about it today, raise your hand. Okay, great. So when I think of creator economy, it's just basically if you have a hobby and you monetize it on social media or in some type of creation format. And actually, the creator economy market today has reached $104.2 billion, billion with a B, and more than 50 million people worldwide consider themselves as digital creators. Research also shows that 1 billion people will self-identify as a creator over the next 5 years. I think the planet is like populated with 8 billion, right. And like 1 billion, that's like 1/5. Yeah. 1/6 is, so not only that, but investors have poured 1.3 billion into the creator economy space in 2021 alone. So it is lucrative, it is profitable. My name is Selena Hill. I'm the Deputy Digital Editor at Black Enterprise. I'm also a creator, and I have the honor to moderate this spectacular panel, which is color coordinated a little bit. I
got on all the colors.
Right, but it's still
It's a vibe.
It's a vibe. So I'm gonna introduce these phenomenal creators, and then we're gonna get into a discussion. So, to my right, we have Andre Brown. He is a 22-year-old TikTok star that has earned, okay. TikTok, okay, that's all for you. He has earned 6 figures from social media since he joined TikTok in August. Wow. That's what I said. He is best known as the corporate baddie, and for making viral videos that poke fun at generational stereotypes about the workplace. With almost 500,000 followers on TikTok alone, DeAndre has cultivated a loyal following that he refers to as corporate baddies and the elite. Give it up for DeAndre.
The elite.
In the middle, Philly's own, Philly's finest.
Philly, we in here? What's up? That's what's up. Everybody else, welcome. Welcome to Philly.
No, well, thank you for welcoming us to your city.
Yeah, I'm so excited that Black Enterprise chose to come here.
Absolutely.
So I hope y'all have fun while y'all here, and I also hope that y'all do some business with some of the Black entrepreneurs in our city, because there's a lot of them. So I just want to encourage y'all to do that before y'all leave.
Absolutely. So Will Toms is an award-winning entrepreneur from Philadelphia who was named on the prestigious Forbes 30 Under 30 list.
Come on.
Halfway through the bio and you get an applause. Okay, and he is also the co-founder and chief creative officer of Rec Philly, which has been described as a gym for creators to make and grow their businesses. Dope. And last but certainly not least, the phenomenal Kéla Walker.
Far too kind.
A 7-time Emmy-nominated TV host, producer, and media personality. She has cultivated a highly engaged community of over 100,000 cuties or cutes across her social media platforms, identified by Essence magazine as a tastemaker and it girl. Kéla has hosted or produced content for outlets like OWN, BET, Getty, and E! News. Plus, she curates authentic content for leading consumer brands. So you three are here because you're all creators. And many creators are either full-time entrepreneurs or micro entrepreneurs, but not everyone has mastered the ability to really survive and thrive in the creator economy. So I wanna, start this conversation by asking, your thoughts on the creator economy, how you would define it, and how can someone thrive? Just broad question, you could start there.
Sure, I can get started. I'll say this, for everyone who's in the room who raised their hand that said that they identify as a creator, like that makes me super proud. And mostly it makes me super proud because I genuinely believe that we are at the beginning of a revolution. And that revolution is we are very familiar with the history of some of these institutions who our artists and our creators had to go to get told that their art was valuable, right? To get told what it was worth and get told how they could then monetize it. And if y'all, know anything about the music industry or the film industry, some of the music that was created by the people our parents loved and got married to, and they played the songs at the cookout, the music creators, a lot of them didn't even have money to be buried properly when they died, right? So there's been this very large systemic issue for how we as creative people can monetize our ideas, our visions, our passions. So now that we're at a place where literally we can all pick up one of these and be able to build an audience the way that Kéla or Dre has and be able to make real money on our own terms, that is something that we should not just sneeze at. That's not something that we should take lightly, because I know that in this room, if you follow the real strategies that I know some of us will get to share, y'all could really change not only your life, but the generations after you. So I just want to kind of start there because I think that's how serious it is. And I think everyone has the opportunity to be able to build a passionate audience, a community who believe what you believe and literally get paid to be who you are.
Will, thank you for those excellent points. Let me ask you this, because a lot of folks feel like it's already oversaturated, right? Like I said, everybody's a creator or wants to be a creator. Right. Do you feel like it's oversaturated and it's just,
Me personally, I don't. Okay. Right?
It reminds me of that. I'm sorry to cut you off. It reminds me of that how the market don't have a you, baby. It's all about you. You are the individual. You are the one that is missing. And so while it feels like it's saturated, it's the idea of there's always room. And if you feel like it is, I always like to reference the bread aisle. You walk down the bread aisle.
Yep.
It's mad bread down that aisle. And you always go for the same look.
That's true.
It don't matter how many new breads or what have you, the variety, you always go for the same one because people have a preference and a choice and a voice, and they opt into that. And so you can't feel like it's saturated and it's overwhelmed because there's always room and space for more. Right. And there's always room for your voice.
Absolutely, and I want to add on to that as well, because when I started creating content, for example, I was very stuck on, everybody's already making these type of videos. Because when I first started, I was doing informative videos, informing people on how to get into corporate America. And I was like, well, how can I find a different approach to this? And through a lot of research I did, because I was actually working on a project at my job, I saw that, wow, okay, 70% of users are Gen Z. And not only are those users Gen Z, I'm also a Gen Z. And I'm also working in corporate America. So I said, how can I take the approach that I'm utilizing, but related to an audience that heavily uses the platform? So it's all about kind of just doing your research as well and finding where you can fit into the puzzle. Because it's just a puzzle and we're just all trying to put the pieces together. Yeah. And that's how I was able to become successful in that field as well.
I'm so glad you brought that up, DeAndre, because, as I mentioned, you just started in August. When you started, you were a full-time corporate employee at a leading consumer bank, since cultivated over 400,000 corporate baddies. And you were recently honored with Adweek's Careers Creator of the Year Award.
Nice.
Okay, he hasn't even been in it a year and got the year award. So I wanted to ask you, what inspired you to make these TikTok videos, and how did you begin to monetize?
Yeah, so basically, I'll give you a little bit of background from when I first began. When I first started, I was just trying to, reach out to minorities specifically and show them how they can receive access to corporate America, because when I was in college, I was so successful at navigating how to get into corporate spaces, stuff like that. And a lot of people always used to ask me, I went to Morehouse College, and a lot of people used to ask me, hey, how can I get an internship at this investment bank? How can I do this? And I was always like providing my insight. So I was like, well, why don't I take this and reach a larger audience, kind of to your point about reaching a broader audience and telling your story. So how can I do that? So I began to do that. And my videos didn't perform very well, but what I realized in the process is that, man, I really enjoy making content. I would literally wake up every day and be like, man, I need to make a video today. I have to do a video today. So eventually I said, well, I'm gonna take a different approach, and that's when I started talking about how I did my research and I started making those videos. So that worked out really well for me. And what happened was brands started reaching out to me, actually. Like the first few brands, they were like, I honestly don't even remember what they were, but they were small and they DM'd me. So I started looking at other influencers who were bigger than I was. And I would DM them and say, hey, what are some tips that you can give me in order to thrive in this space, and how to reach out to brands, what I should be charging. And one influencer, Sedoni Francis, she's a TikToker too, helped me so much. She was like, well, first of all, you don't even have an email in your bio. How are people gonna reach out to you? Put my email in my bio a week later.
Yeah, so effective.
Yes. Put my email in my bio a week later, I closed my first deal with LinkedIn.
Wow.
And I'm still working with LinkedIn to this day.
So,
yeah.
Amazing. Kéla, I'm gonna throw it over to you because you've been producing content for a long time too. Yeah. How do you make that switch to transition to start making money from the content?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's really important that you are consistent with it. It sounds very cliche, but you have to be consistent and, charge, know your worth. And sometimes you start out small, but you build and you grow. And sometimes you don't know what to charge. And somebody might offer you a penny and you're like, well, how about a dime? And they'd be like, well, we can meet you at 8 cents. And you're like, boom, because I was gonna take that penny you was given. So you literally have to ask, closed mouths don't get fed, speak up, speak for what you want. And always ask for more, but being consistent really helps. I think a lot of times we get caught up in no one's paying attention, or I don't know if, no one notices, but people will take note and come to you when you least expect it.
Yes.
And will tell you about yourself. And you're like, well, chill, I didn't even know you was liking, I didn't even know you was paying attention, but they take note and they pay attention and they come book you for something. You're like, well, yes. So I think consistency, showing up, asking, closed mouths don't get fed again. It's a full list of things.
You mind if I add to that?
Yeah, please do.
I think one of the words you said is so, so powerful, and my rec members know that I swear by it, the word consistency. Mm-hmm. I think it's important to understand that there's two versions of consistency. The first one is, are you showing up regularly, right? Where people can get used to you. The same way our favorite TV shows come on once a week for that whole season, right? Because what happens is people start to make you a part of their lives, right? Yeah. And that's what we have to do, right? It's a behavior thing. But the second part of consistency is, we communicate so many different ways beyond what we actually say, right? And one of the things I think a lot of content creators fail to do up front is make sure that all the ways we communicate, they're saying the same thing about who we are, right? So for example, right, if you're a hip hop artist and you're like, yo, I just wanna come off, I'm just a down to earth guy, you know what I mean, I'm for the people, but you're wearing the biggest chain I've ever seen in my life, what you're saying to me, right, don't feel too relatable, don't feel, right? So I think it's important for you to take a step back and say, yo, what is the actual feeling I want to give people? And make sure if it's your Instagram, your TikTok, your website, the way you interact when they see you in person at a conference, that feeling needs to be the same.
It needs to be consistent, yeah, for sure, absolutely.
It's when you guys say about consistency and that behavior in that audience, I feel so bad because I haven't posted on my IG stories in 48 hours, and I know my followers know, and I feel like I'm letting them down because I'm like, they know I'm here.
Right.
I was promoted to the conference, but I just didn't have the time. Yeah. So how do you make the time? Are you outsourcing? Do you hire someone to help you with the content? How do you get it done all the time?
Yeah, I can take that first. What I say is that for some people, and it just comes naturally, where I know a lot of creators, for example, they have a whole calendar a month in advance. I'm posting this on this day, while others, like me, for example, it just comes natural. So when something's on the top of my head, I'll just write it in my notes. And that's something that works for others as well. So it's really, you have to find the approach that works best for you. But I will say, in order to find the time is being very scheduled. Like having a strict schedule, like from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to bed, I'm gonna do this, I need to do this, and have everything that you need to accomplish within that day. Because when you're doing content, and especially when you start working with brands, it can become very overwhelming. Yeah. And it will get to a point when you will actually need to source a team. Like, hey, I need a brand manager. I need some, because you're gonna begin to need help, because while a lot of people from the outside looking in, they think, oh, he just posts videos all day. A lot of people don't understand how much work goes into posting those videos every single day and having to come up with stuff every single day to post as well.
I ain't gonna hold you. I struggle with it still. Like, I mean, because you want to be present and you want to be in the moment, but you also like, I gotta show up. My stories is different. Like, my stories is like anything goes. Like, it's unfiltered, raw, authentic. Like,
it is.
Because I'm not curating that, right? And so my feed is more curated. But in those moments, it's sometimes hard to be present and show up when you're like, no, I gotta let them know I'm at the Black Enterprise Entrepreneur Summit, and I gotta show them I'm in boss mode. But you still want to be present. You're like, and so I struggle with it because I do like posting in real time. I'm not a person that batch captures content. Some people will film all their things for a week in one day. I'm not that girl. I'm like, this is what I'm wearing in real life. This is where I'm at, or I was just there. But I will say, you have to get to the point where you stop overthinking it, because that's what I tend to do, right?
That's it.
And you, especially in the market that we're in right now, I think it's not the space where it has to be perfect. It has to be like seamless and curated. It's like, I keep thinking authentic in my head, but it has to be real. And people like that rawness, and they like being able to like, yes, girl, me too. I also was struggling to figure out fill in the blank. And so when you let go of that controlling the content, that it's like very seamless and ideal, or it looks picture perfect, and you just shoot something out, like, it's crazy how that performs. You be like, I didn't even put no effort into that, and it performs amazingly well.
It's always the ones that, like me specifically, the ones I put no effort into always go super viral. And I'm like, that took me like 5 seconds.
And the ones you put something on, you like, this went triple plastic. Like, what the heck? Like, this ain't going nowhere.
See, that's the challenge, right? Because I think, like, as creators, like, we're artists in our own right, and we sensitive about our stuff, right?
Fact.
But you have to remember that, like, you don't get to choose what the hit is. You don't get to choose what goes viral. Like, that's not up to us. That's really up to the people. So I think, like, when I think about posting, I'm a little hybrid of your style. Like, I like posting in the moment, but like, I be having a lot of different things that I'm like, I gotta get done, so I'm gonna build a little system. But I realize that as long as it goes through my filter of like, yo, is this doing what I want to do to my community, which is empower them, right? Show up and be relatable and accessible, right? And just give them maybe a different perspective. All right, cool, now let the content go. You know what I mean? And as long as you show up consistently in that vibe,
right,
you got to let them say, okay, this is the one. But the most important part is, once you see what's going, listen to that, right? Because that's your audience telling you, we love this from you. And you should give them more.
Did you want to add on, or?
No,
okay.
I'm just sometimes.
Okay, I thought you was raising
like,
the hand.
Because the church is.
Oh, right,
like,
okay, that's what it is.
That's what I'm doing.
Okay, I got you. So, Will, I do want to switch gears a little bit, because before Rec, you served as a digital strategist at Fame House, developing and executing marketing campaigns for the likes of Ice Cube, Shady Records, and Eminem. What did that experience teach you about digital marketing, direct-to-consumer relationships, and audience building? And how did you apply those skills to build your own business?
Sure. I give so much credit to what I learned at Fame House, because I was working at Fame House at a time right before the whole content creator revolution was happening, and we use words like creator economy, right? This is before TikTok. This is back in like 2013, 2014, right? And I had the opportunity to work on a very successful campaign specifically for Ice Cube. Anyone ever see the movie Straight Outta Compton?
Oh, yeah.
Do y'all remember before that movie came out, a lot of people were posting straight out of Philly, straight out of Jersey, right? So that was the campaign that we developed.
That was all you.
I'm like, that's you.
You better. Will better. I remember that.
So here's how I was thinking about that, right? Like, the problem was, we have this film that we know, if you're a 90s hip hop lover, you're gonna go see it. If you understood what NWA meant to the West Coast, you're gonna go see it, right? But what about the rest of America who we wanted to go see this film? And the challenge was, how do we get people passionate about this film okay, cool, well, let's do that by getting them passionate about what they're already passionate about and connect it to the film, right? And that's when the Straight Outta Blank campaign was created, right? So it was a challenge to say, okay, cool, I can't really just be like, yo, Ice Cube, I need you to do these 12, 15, 30 things to promote on Facebook. But what I can do is I can create this template that anyone can get behind. And when that campaign was so successful, I was like, whoa, there's real power on the internet. There's real money that we can pull out of the internet. And if you don't know, like, Straight Outta Compton went off to break box office records, right, for the film of that type. And I said, all right, I can either keep making millionaires more millions, or I can teach these exact strategies to my homies, and they can go from 0 to 60K this year.
Nice.
And that was really like the premise of my company, Rec, which was, you know, okay, we have a lot of passionate, talented, creative people in cities all across the country, but unfortunately, sometimes we felt that we needed to go to a New York or LA to be successful because there was an industry infrastructure there. But for real, the industry is everywhere now.
Everywhere.
So Rec is really about saying, hey, how do we create the spaces that give creatives access to the tools they need? And then also we have the programming to literally teach digital strategy and direct-to-consumer entrepreneurship to creators so they can own their future.
Will, can you talk about some of the digital strategies that you did teach or are teaching to the creators to help them?
Yeah, so I'm really proud. I actually just published my first book as an author this month. Thank you. And it's called Uncommon Sense, Your Strategy Guide to Creative Freedom. And it's really for anyone who's like, yo, I want to get paid to be myself. I want to build a business around my passion. And it's 10 chapters, so it's pretty simple. But one of the things that I would just call out is the idea of 1,000 true fans, which was a concept created or coined by a guy named Kevin Kelly. And what he said was something that was really powerful because it changed how we used to think about the internet and like success. He said, yo, you don't have to be a household name to be successful. You don't have to be Beyonce to be able to get, you know, the lifestyle you want. All you need is 1,000 people, but 1,000 true fans. And he said the true fans are the people who not only support you with their mouths, but also with their dollars. And all it takes is you to find those 1,000 people who you've given so much value to that they're willing to reciprocate that value through dollars for the content that you're creating, for the merchandise you're producing, the experiences that you're selling tickets to. And if you do that, those 1,000 people just gave you 6 figures, right? So that's kind of a new philosophy where it's like, stop trying to go viral all the time so you can get 1 million followers. Why don't we focus on giving as much value to the 800 people who already love you? And they're gonna help the rest of the world know you exist.
Facts.
And pay your bills.
I love that. I absolutely love that. You know, Kéla, for, you know, when I've been, you know, watching your career for so long, you've had a long-standing career in media, includes covering red carpets at the Tonys, Met Gala, Grammys. You've also conducted celebrity interviews, hosted a local TV show in New York. You were on the same channel.
Yeah.
I was like, my show even came on before or after yours.
NYCTV.
Yep. And you even had your own column on Black Enterprise.
I did.
.com.
I did.
Okay,
Shout out
talk
to Black
about full
Enterprise for
circle
giving me a
moments.
chance.
How did the emergence and growth of social media affect your career?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, before social media, I was a girl in the New York market, and granted, it's the #1 market in the country, but it's still, you know, regional, if you will. And so with the introduction of social media eons ago, it was a chance for me to build and grow my own brand. So you can watch me in New York in a local market, but the World Wide Web is just that, the World Wide Web. And so social media gave me a chance to create a name for myself beyond the New York City environment. So now, you know, there are fans in New York or London, Africa, across the globe that can tap into me and who I am. And it really helped me grow because now you're not just this girl in New York, but it's just this girl that we want to relate to, we want to engage with, and so promote this product, come work for my network across the board. And I always encourage people to be mindful of your character, and your reputation will watch out for itself. And that's most definitely helped me in my career and what I've, you know, lended with social media.
Well, you gotta say that again. That was a bar.
That's not a
I'm
bar.
not gonna slide
bar.
past
Let me
that.
say it again.
But be mindful of your character, and your reputation will watch out for itself.
Yeah. Y'all can write that one down.
And another one that I absolutely love that's in the same vein, Brown Duckett, I forget her first name. She used to be the CEO of Chase, and she would say it again? Tashonda, yes, her. She says, you rent your title, but you own your character. And I always remember that, and it goes back to that character, because no matter if I was at NYC TV or if I was at E! News or OWN, like, I had to be mindful of who I was. And my title didn't dictate the job that I did. It was my character and who I am and the signature, if you will, that I put on that. And so I'm always mindful of that. And so I'm able to do that with social media, and it was inevitable that I would grow and my brand would get bigger, just because I took matters into my own hand and I wasn't now relying on the network to promote me and put me out there in that way.
And one thing you've been really successful for, I don't know, how many people follow Kéla Walker?
Don't put nobody on the spot.
Oh, no, I mean,
But follow me though, at Kéla Walker, thanks.
because when you say character and consistency, like, you know, your line, hiya cutes,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The cuties,
Hiya
right?
cutes, yeah.
Like, to me, that's next level of audience building, right? Because you're creating a brand identity. You've done the same thing, DeAndre, with the corporate baddies. How do you get to a level where people are identifying with you and your community?
It's like what you were saying, you know, when you were doing the campaign, the Compton, like that engagement is real. And so like tap it into an audience. And I didn't even realize it was something, because I would just be like, hiya cutes. Like, it was just how I would start my Instagram stories. And I didn't even realize it was something like that until like one day I didn't say it and somebody's like, you're not gonna say hiya cutes? Or I was like, hey, saints and sinners, and they were like, now we saints and sinners? Like, we not cuties no more? And I was like, it's a thing. Or like Lisa Price one time, the founder of Carol's Daughter, stood on a mic and she's like, I look forward to hiya cutes every day. And I was like, wow. Like, people actually take notice of that. And it goes back to that consistency, because I was saying it every day, it became of like a part of your morning thing, like, oh, I'm looking for the hiya cutes. And so it was really that consistency. And for me, like identifying my community. I hate followers. I don't like that word, because we're all in a community together, right? And I never want to be like, these are my followers. And I'd be like, you cute, I'm cute, we cuties, right? And so it just turned into a thing. And it was, again, a way for me to identify people and people to know that they were part of my community. And they'd be like, I'm a cutie, I'm an OG cutie from Snapchat. And I'd be like, okay, sis. So it became a thing without me knowing it. And it's amazing, because it does speak to like when you tap into your audience, when you engage them, when you speak to them and identify with them, they'll show up for you each and every time.
Yeah, and I want to talk a little bit about my experience with that as well, because people also on social media, they want something that they can relate to.
Yeah.
So corporate baddies, other people work in corporate America, they consider themselves corporate baddies. So I did a thing where I would do like my outfits and I would say corporate baddies fit for the day and stuff like that. And then people started posting their outfits and be like, giving corporate baddie today. And then it became a thing, the elites. And I did a little movement. Now everybody's like, I'm the elite. So it's all about creating something that people can relate to. Yeah, so that's super important on top of what you just said.
People want to be like Me Too in a good way. Like, Me Too, we're in this together.
Right.
And so when you give them that, it's remarkable.
And if you are, those out there that are starting content creation, people always ask me, how did you come up with corporate baddie? It was actually given to me. I was posting my videos and people were like, oh, he's a corporate baddie. He's a corporate baddie. So
like, I'm gonna run with it.
I'm gonna run with it.
Listen.
So you need to always listen to your followers or your community, as you would say. I actually like that word, but I'm gonna use that. Listen to your community, because they will tell you a lot and they will really be the ones that help you grow further. I know a lot of people, they like to do this thing where, oh, I don't look at comments, I don't respond to people, like, because they want to seem as if they're like they're, you know, I'm a creator, you guys are just watching me. But you really need to engage with your community, because your community is going to be the people that help you grow, and they're going to be your next viral moment.
They will, because your community will be like, hey, do you follow the corporate baddie?
Right.
Like, you got to follow him too. And I mean, I just want to really stress the point that you just made. Like, it is important, you said it too, to engage your community. If they leave a comment, respond. At least like that joint. Like, I respond to every DM, every comment. I might not be able to write something, but I'm always gonna heart it. It's so important to acknowledge those people that show up for you, because they're the ones that, again, are showing up for you. Absolutely. If you can take the time to write something, I can take the time to respond.
Right, and real quick, like, you guys are talking about the power of building communities, and like, that is the best thing we can ever do, because the difference between like an audience, right, or followers versus community is communities, the communication goes all the which way, whereas audiences, all right, y'all, I'm gonna talk, y'all gotta just stay there and listen. Right? So the power of that in social media is y'all started off and, you know, you got your corporate baddies, right? And it started off as a way for people to connect with you. but now it's bigger than you, right? So now it's like when you walk down the street and you see somebody that has the shirt of your favorite creator, now you know that y'all have something in common, right? And there's a lot that y'all can exchange value-wise, and it may not have anything to do with you at that point, but they already know. So like as a creator, you gotta remember like your role is not to get people to connect with you. Your role is really to create the things that connect people to other people.
Yes.
And then once you get to that level, Will, how do you posture that to then to monetize? You know, I'm sure like if I'm a brand,
Yep.
you know, it's one thing to support a social media influencer. It's another thing to support someone who has a tribe,
Facts.
right? Is there a difference there?
There's absolutely a difference there. And I think like the way I've built my community is the only thing that allows me to really monetize at the level that I'm at. You know, like my following, I'm probably considered a nano influencer, if you will, right? I got less than 10,000 followers. But the brand bags come because they know that the trust that I have with my tribe is deep. And they also know that my audience is very specific, right? They know me as a creative entrepreneur, and they know that when you get Will, I'm gonna talk about ways that creatives gonna make money.
Yeah.
So if they care about that, I'm one of the best people to come to because they know that it's not just this wide audience, it's a very specific one. And obviously, they only give me the money as a sponsor because what I'm selling them is the trust I have with my tribe, right? So if anyone's like, yo, I wanna get sponsorship, that's what they're actually paying for. They're not paying for, hey, like we just dig you. That's the extra bonus. But what they're paying for is saying, oh, well, we know there's some people that trust you and we want to be a part of the conversation. Here's $10,000, right?
But also take note that you are influential. And so I think some people need to distinguish the difference between being an influencer and being influential. Everybody in this room is an influencer. Whether you got 8 followers, 10,000 followers across the board, everybody's an influencer. You say, girl, I love the shampoo. And she'll be like, oh, what's the name of that shampoo? And you go get the shampoo, right? You holding this bottle of Essential. I'm like, that's some good water. Maybe I should go get it. Everybody's an influencer across the board. But there are people that are influential. And so while you might have a small number of followers, people know that you know what you know, and you have that insight and that expertise. And, you know, again, that community that they'll tap into, because influential people make changes. Those are the people that make an impact. So it's not just about being an influencer, but it's about being influential and showing up and sharing the insight and knowledge that you know and improving that.
Yeah, and I want to add on to that. Also, because you've built the brand as well. So that's why people, you know, they'll go to you because, for example, looking at TikTok, there's a lot of creators on TikTok who use trending sounds, and they have like hundreds of thousands of followers using trending sounds. But then they'll come to me or other creators that are making money off of TikTok, like, how do I get to work with these brands? And it's like, you don't have like a community, you just go viral off trending sounds. So it doesn't matter the number of followers. And I want people to take that away too, because a lot of people think, well, I need to get 100,000 followers so I can work with X amount of brands. You can work with brands with literally 5,000 followers if you have probably less than 5,000 really, as long as you have that community. And then also I want to touch on like content creation versus being an influencer or influential. So people there's a misconception that they're one and the same, but really they're very different. Content creation is usually you're posting for other brands. So people who don't think that they're influential, because some people just may not feel like they are, there's still the content creation route where you make content for other brands. So it is using those trending sounds and stuff like that, and the brands will pay you to post on their social accounts. So you don't always have to be influential and be the face of your brand. You can be the face behind someone else's brand as well.
Really good point.
Yeah.
So that's super important because people always think like, oh, I have to be influential. How can I be influential? You don't always have to be that person because everybody's just not that person, but you can still make money off content in other ways as well.
That's such a good point. And there's a bit of a wave happening right now where creators are getting paid more to create content and just give it to the brand, right? Like, for example, I know that there's a minority-owned business called Trend.io, backed by Pharrell. And what they do is like, you can choose, hey, brand, you can work with me and then I'll create this content and put it out through my channels. Or you just send me the product, I'll make some really great content, I'm gonna just give it to you, and you can just put it on the internet through there. And there's a lot of opportunity there too.
And there's you can.
No, I was gonna say with that, and I think you're really great at this, is that creating this aesthetic and this vibe, if you will. And when people can identify like, oh, that looks just like Dre's work, like because he's got this kind of look and feel to his content, and you see it with a lot of different girls online, like they just deliver it in the same way over and over again, that it again becomes routine. It's like a TV show, you know it's gonna be there, that brands will tap into that because of that consistency, that aesthetic, that vibe that you deliver. And they're like, nobody else can do it the way you're doing it because you created it and you came up with this thing that they want to tap into.
As soon as they say that, and
Yep.
no one else could do it like you,
Yep.
your price just went up.
Yeah.
Boom.
Straight up.
And for those that aren't like, hey, I'm not influential, but I can be a content creator, I actually do both. So LinkedIn, I do influencer deals, but I also do content creator deals where I post for LinkedIn's page. I make more from LinkedIn from posting on their page because they have to charge you for usage. And that usage money is insane compared to like when you just posting it on your page and they don't boost it or anything. So you can make a lot more money on content creation as well as, I mean, you can still make good money from influence and stuff.
Also, get into LinkedIn because the content is flourishing over there.
really
It's like the
is.
new Gram.
Before we start doing Q&A from the audience, get your questions ready. You know, there's a lot of entrepreneurs here. 2 questions I want to pose for you guys is, if you're a small business owner, should you become front-facing of your brand, or should you outsource and work with influencers like yourself? And also, how can, you know, a small business owner tap into the creator economy because it's so much opportunity and so lucrative?
I'd like to jump on that one. The question about should you get in front of the camera essentially for your brand, one, it comes down to personal preference, right? Like, is that a gift you have, right? Because if it's just not, and you're gonna feel like it's a chore to wake up every day and create content, go find somebody else who enjoys it, right? Because it's just gonna save you the mental and spiritual energy, right? However, if you know that like you are running a business where kinda you are the product, right? Like if you run a service-based business or like who you are matters to it, right? So for me, right, I'm building Rec, and it's a very cultural business, right? In the beginning, and a lot of people who know me for a while can attest to this, in the first like 4 or 5 years of building Rec, it was just look at Rec, don't look at me, right? Because I didn't really care to be out front. But over time, I'm like, nah, when people know about this revolutionary business model, they should also know who created it, because that actually adds to the story. So then I said, all right, well, ego doesn't say I need to be out here making all this content, but I was like, there's a responsibility I have now, because I know that I can add value to my brand by being connected to it personally.
I'm curious, did you regret not being in the forefront in the beginning?
Yeah, I did, but
Yeah.
you know, only in the sense of like, I know I could have maybe moved a little faster
Yeah.
if I did it that way, but I think everything happens in God's time, so I'm not
For
like
sure.
upset, but I think there's opportunities missed
Yeah.
because I didn't.
I only asked that because I've heard that from several brands over time, like the founder of Harlem's Fashion Row, Brandon
yes.
Daniel. Amazing brand, you know, encouraging designers or helping designers of color get into the main market, if you will. And she always said, like, people knew HFR, but they didn't know who she was. And she was a founder of it and, you know, the brain behind it. But people were like, who are you? And she was like, this is my joint. Like, what are you talking about? But, like, remember her saying, like, you know, she would sort of push the brand up front.
Right.
And then later on was like, you know what, let me put myself in the forefront. And the same thing with Melissa Butler of the Lip Bar. She said at the point that she put her face in front of the brand, her brand grew exponentially. But it is, like you said, it is important to consider whether or not that's something that you feel comfortable with.
Right.
And sometimes it's not all or nothing. It can be a little bit of both and a balancing act.
And just to add on to that, because I'm so glad you brought up that point, when I was before podcasting and I was doing local radio, my team and I made the decision. We were saying, should we be promoting ourselves as personalities and radio personalities, or should we be pushing the show?
Yeah.
And we were pushing the show. Years later, I realized people were listening and investing in it because of me.
Yep.
And I got to the point where I could do anything. I can write children's books,
Yeah.
you know, do a show. People are supporting me. They're supporting you, the person. It's about making that human-to-human connection. And we want to see the person behind this genius entity, whether it's Rec Philly or Harlem's Fashion Row, because it's like, hold on, that black man, that black person, that black woman created this, and that's where the connection usually comes in.
People invest in people.
That part.
And that's made a huge difference for me in some of my brand deals. And like, you know, they really like me. They're like, no, I like you. I don't, just not just your aesthetic or about the numbers, but I like you, I vibe with you. And like, that's helped me get bookings because again, people invest in people. When they can identify with you, again, you know, me too in a positive way, people, that'll get you paid.
Yeah, and just on that point, right, and this comes back to something you said earlier. How many of us, real quick, we're building brands? How many of us want to build a stronger brand? I just want to give us all permission real quick because I feel like we all use the word brand and sometimes we don't really understand it. We can throw the word brand away and just replace it with the word reputation. That's what we're talking about. Your brand is just how do people think, what do people think about when they think about me? When do people think about me? That's your brand.
Facts.
Your brand is not what you say it is. Your brand is what the people who actually know you say it is, right? And all the things you're talking about with character, the fact that they just want to work with you, that's because you have a reputation.
Right.
And I think that's going to be helpful for somebody who's like, man, I'm trying to get this brand thing figured out. Really what you're saying is, hey, I'm just trying to build a strong reputation for myself.
So we are going to open up the floor to Q&A. Please walk over to the microphone, name, title, and please get to your question only because we want to make sure we have ample time for as many people as possible.
I'm going to interrupt for 1 second. William Toms was kind enough to give us 20 copies
I was gonna ask you
of
if you had a booklet,
Uncommon
bro.
Sense.
Let me get one of those.
And so to do this fairly, what I'm going to ask you to do is take your business card. If you don't have a business card, just write your name on a quick piece of paper, a corner of a bag. It doesn't make a difference. We're going to put them in this bag, and the 20
Dope.
names that come out, we'll take a copy of the book home.
That's fine.
Okay?
Nice.
That's love.
Shout out to Will.
I need to put
Get
my
a
name
leave
in
it
there.
again.
So Jackie, raise a hand. Taj can help out. I'll help out. We'll collect these names, okay, while this goes on.
I'm at the buy book. I'm gonna buy a book.
Okay, first question.
Hi,
I'm sorry, I know
Selena.
we're doing all of this, but we still want to be respectful to whoever has the mic. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Good afternoon. Thank you guys so much. Y'all already shared so much valuable information. I really appreciate it. My name is Kiara Solomon. I'm the founder of the Right Click Agency. We're a digital marketing agency here in the Philadelphia area. So we work with clients who are at varieties of levels when it comes to their content creation. And one of the things that not just myself, but our clients struggle with is, and my question is, how do you guys, or what have you done to avoid falling into the trap of being trendy while you are on that process of trying to develop your signature aesthetic? Because sometimes the noise can be a little bit loud and try to pull you from what your desire. And I know you said that you are not creating content for yourself, so it's like a balance that you have to find. I'm just interested in hearing from you guys in regards to that.
Can you give me the question one more time? Just
So what have you done personally to prevent yourself, to stay committed, I guess, to your creative process of developing what your signature, like Kéla was saying, your signature aesthetic of showing up on social media, creating that brand, building that reputation, and not falling into the trap of being trendy and just looking for, you know, trending music so we can get reels and go viral?
Sure. For me and you know, so Rec, I mentioned, also has an agency. I didn't mention that exists, but we also have an agency. And one of the ways that we do what you're saying, like avoid the trends and actually like really stay true to who we are, we have a mission statement and we also have an artist statement as a company, right? And ours is, we create experiences for creative entrepreneurs to feel empowered when they're turning passion into dollars. Anytime we're like, yo, should we go do this new thing? We have to be able to make sure that it makes what I just said true. Because if it doesn't make creative entrepreneurs feel empowered when they're doing a specific thing, we're not actually taking advantage of an opportunity. We just got distracted. So like I would say, come up with whatever that one line is for you, and you're like, this is why we exist. So that way, as all the trends come, you'll always be able to just keep yourself honest by saying, all right, cool, is this for me or not?
Absolutely. Thank you so
simply
much.
put, I just want to say, remember your why.
That's it.
Why are you doing this? And you will do some trendy stuff because you're like, yo, y'all got to figure out why I'm over here. And sometimes it's a balance. Like sometimes you do a little trendy stuff, but remember your why and what's true to you and who you are and why you show up in this space, and then it'll all come back.
Absolutely. Thank you.
DeAndre, did you want to add?
I was just gonna add more so a technical thing as well, doing your research and really understanding the algorithm, because some people are just trendy and they come and they go. But when you really understand, like you said, your why, your purpose, all of that, but then you also are constantly doing research on these different social platforms, what's hot at the moment, because what's hot today is not gonna be hot tomorrow, and really understanding how you can utilize what you're doing to fit into that puzzle, like I mentioned earlier, that's gonna keep you like up there too and not just fall with the trends as well.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Selena.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you all for sharing your knowledge with all of us. My name is Keaton Meitner. I'm a wealth management advisor for U.S. Bank. I'm in the financial services industry, and it's highly regulated. So I was just wondering what your guys' process was from like a legal standpoint, because in our industry, we have to be really careful on what we say and how we say it. So I don't know if you guys are outsourcing from a legal standpoint, or if you've ever had to experience something from like a legal standpoint.
Yeah.
I absolutely outsource for that legal stuff. I'm like, read the contracts. What can I say? What can I not say? Management goes over all of that, and when all else fails, there's a disclaimer, you know, and saying that I am not an expert. This is a financial institution. Like, I work with banks and different financial institutions in the influencer space, and there's always just a disclaimer in each of those engagements or posts. But it's really important that the contracts are read and understood.
Because you realize when you're reading these contracts that they don't care about you.
At all.
Everything is to protect them. So it's so important that, like we mentioned earlier about having a team, in your team you need like an attorney for sure. Maybe a few attorneys really, but.
Facts. Multiple. Multiple.
Yeah.
Are there any attorneys that specialize more on like the content creation side?
Absolutely.
Like, are you saying like intellectual property?
Yeah, like.
Yeah.
IP attorneys.
Absolutely. Okay. There's tons of really great ones. I mean, I'll just shout out a couple that I like. I really love Carl Folks, young black brother from Villanova, amazing IP attorney. Ryan Raymond, who I know was here this week. He's around somewhere.
Okay.
He has an IP firm as well.
Perfect. Thank you guys so much.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Shonda. I'm a licensed clinical psychologist and a content creator. So during the pandemic, I started posting more about mental health, and a lot of people were really appreciating the information, so my page started growing. I recently launched my private practice a couple of months ago, so now I'm trying to manage burnout, creative burnout, because it's like I'm, CEO by day, content creator by night, and it's just a lot going on right now. Yes. So whatever advice y'all have, I'm here for it.
I mean, it feels like you're in that field, right? Like self-care, you know what that is. It's trendy right now, but I think this is now the time, as you're taking on more, to start outsourcing and to understand that you don't have to do it all. And that's been something I've been doing, like with Reels being popular, and I'm like, I can't do the Reels now. Y'all asking for too much, so I start outsourcing. So look for people that can be on your team that can help you out so that you don't have burnout and you can actually serve that industry in which you are in, which is all about mental health care.
And I'll say, even because sometimes people just don't want to put money into a team, which I completely understand. It's okay. I know we spoke about being consistent, but it's okay to take time away from it as well for yourself. You don't always have to feel the need to always consistently, I have to post every single day. It's okay to give yourself a break. I just want to add that as well, because sometimes people just really don't want to pay people to do stuff for them.
And for you, right, that's going to be very authentic to your audience and who you are, to literally tell them, hey guys, I need to take a break for a little bit, catch y'all next week. Or just say nothing and then come back and be like, hey y'all, this was a me week. I had to take care of myself. Because then you're modeling the behavior that you want your community to follow anyway.
And now that I think about it, you can even make it a thing where it's like you encourage your followers as well to take a break with you from social media, because you know what I mean?
Take a break challenge.
Yeah, like do something with it. Make it a thing where like now your followers know, okay, every other week we're taking a break from social media and we'll come back and pick it up. Like, try to find a way to incorporate your followers in that process.
I love how Dre just gave you more work. And take a break, but first turn into the campaign and then take the break. But it's smart. It's genius. You should do it, girl. Do it.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you.
Hello, how you guys doing? Thank you guys for being here. Can we clap it up once again for the lovely speakers? My name is Soraya Nicole, and I would like to ask you guys, what was a trial that you all individually experienced and persevered through to get to where you are today? Because we all love to hear the wins. We love to see y'all glowing up, of course, yes, yes, yes. But, right, we all are still experiencing these trials too, and we want to know, we want to hear that story. We want to hear how you got to where you are today. Thank you.
Yeah, I can start, and I'm gonna be completely honest because it's something that scares me to this day. Everything that happens for me happened very quickly. I started in August, and now I'm here. And, you know, I get scared a lot, and I'll be honest, because I'm scared that, you know, when stuff happens so fast, it falls fast too. So I really have to, like, personally, I'm very faithful, so I just walk by faith and not by sight.
Come on, God.
Yes, yes, yes.
Come on. Church finger.
Now you preaching.
So I'll just be honest with that. For me, like I don't have a story, but what I will say is that I'm learning as I'm going. And recently, actually today, before I got up here, I've been having a very bad experience with the brand, very, very bad. And it's starting to impact the work that I'm doing with other brands as well. So it's like, it's a struggle because it's like you want to always have those good relationships with these brands because they'll always reach out to you for other partnerships as well. So right now it's like I'm learning as I go, how do I handle this? What should I do? Asking my agent, how should I go about this? Because the brand I'm working with now that I'm having an issue with was before I signed with my agency. So it's like I'm trying to, you know what I mean? So it's just like a process you learn as you go if it does happen to happen in my manner.
First, I appreciate you asking this question because I do think it's like super important, and I know Soraya, so peace, Soraya. I would share this, like, you know, I'm really, really grateful to be blessed to have built Rec to what it is now, right? We do multiple millions a year in revenue, and our space is beautiful, and, you know, we have 25 employees and all those things. But a lot of people don't know that, like, in the beginning years of building Rec, when we had a studio in a warehouse in North Philly, I slept in that studio for 3 years. You know what I mean? Like, that was the level of commitment that I felt like it would take to be able to manifest, right? Like, you know, also a man of faith. So it's like, I know God gonna meet me halfway, but I gotta meet him. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Amen.
So like, that was a trial of like, all right, I'm gonna leave that Fame House job where I had a lovely salary working for Eminem and Shady Records. And I said, all right, I have this vision. I know that this is the thing for me. I'm out. And then adjusting to that lifestyle was a challenge, you know what I mean? And I think I did it gracefully because most members didn't even realize I was sleeping in that warehouse at the time, right? But I just want to, you know, send encouragement to anyone who's like, yo, I'm in my metaphorical sleeping in the warehouse right now, but like just know that like that's a part of the journey, you know, for some of us, and you're gonna only be better for it after.
Yeah. I feel like I gotta follow with a scripture. I too am a woman of faith.
Pass the plate around.
I too. Really quickly, I'll say one of my trials and tribulations, if you will, I want to encourage everybody to think of the long game, if you will. I think so often we get caught up in social media and what it is now, but you should be mindful of the long game. And I've had some difficulty in sort of, sometimes I feel minimized in social media and like, just like, oh, you're a content creator, influencer. And I'm like, the Grammy give me 7 Emmy nominations. Like I got a skill set and I, know how to do something that is not taught on the gram. And so for me, it's been this trial of merging the traditional old school media communications, education that I have in this new world of media that we're in now. And so it's been a trial, if you will, letting people know I'm not just a girl in the square that gives a pretty picture, but I also know how to deliver and tell a story on air, online, in person.
But I think you've been doing both.
Girl, it's hard. It's hard. It's a trial, okay? It's a tribulation.
But you're doing it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
Hello. My name is Aisha Hermine Casimir. I'm the owner and creator of
Hermine. I remember you yesterday, girl.
Thank you. I'm the owner and creator of Hermine, which is a swimsuit company. Will, you mentioned earlier, I say that all the time, I'm a creator and we're sensitive about our shit. And my thing is like, how do you get out of the funk? Like that phase, like I feel like sometimes I get shadow banned or I go through these stages where I will take this time and I put so much work in the reel or content or whatever, and then my engagement is not high, but if I post like my puppy or something, the engagement is through the roof. And But when it comes time for posting my business, I feel like in the last 2 years, it's just like the engagement is low, but post something else, the engagement is high. So have you guys experienced that? And if you did, what do you do? Or any tips, or what can I do like to get my engagement high when I'm like posting my business?
Sure. So for me, right, and I'm kind of curious to hear how y'all think about this
yes,
too,
well,
right?
hi, what you
For me, I know that that's a reality, right? I know that there's gonna be the posts that, like, again, I deeply care about, and it's like, I want y'all to have this information, but I also know that there's certain accolade type posts that are gonna give you more engagement, right? So for me personally, I just try to strategize around that. So it's like, for example, I'll try to make this really quick. There's 3 different types of content we should be all putting out, right? The first one is like what I call hero content, and this is a very popular thing. Y'all could go Google this. Triple H content strategy. It's the one I swear by. One should be like, these are the posts that like represent me the best, put my best foot forward, selling my products, etc. And you got to put those out. However, those are the ones that usually take way more time to create, and they take a lot of money. So you can't do them all the time, right?
Okay.
So those are the ones you put out like 3 to 4 times a year.
Okay.
I dropped my book, hero content.
Okay.
However, you should have a whole different type of content that you post specifically designed to give value to the people who already follow you. And you
Okay.
can do it weekly, right?
Okay.
This is weekly vlogs. This is, hey, I'm gonna write a song on IG Live and y'all can follow me, whatever that is, right?
Okay.
And then the final piece of content that some of us don't really think about very often, we call this help content.
Okay.
And it's specifically for you to win new audiences. This is why companies write blogs. They write blogs because they're gonna put in certain words in the blog that when you go and Google a question, they're gonna come up as the answer,
Okay.
right? So think about how you can create that stuff and just respect the fact that the hero content is always gonna go crazy.
Right.
But you can't just post that. So what you should be doing is post that, and then leading up to those, post that hub content, nurture the people, etc. And then the help content brings new people into the funnel. So here's how it works. The blog found the person. And then I said, oh, word, she does a swimwear review every week. She knows what she's talking about. I trust her now.
Okay.
Oh, 20% off for the new swimsuit? I'm gonna buy it because you just given me so much value in the last 8 weeks. We have a relationship now. That's what real strategy looks like from a digital strategist lens. So 1, accept the fact that not every post is gonna go crazy
Right.
as the puppy post. But 2, just be more thoughtful around, all right, cool, here's what I'm putting out in between those.
And
feel like
I
Will
would
just did a whole
add to
business
that
plan.
by saying,
No, I love
I'm a
it.
nerd, y'all. I
That
get
was
passionate
good.
about this stuff.
just
I'm like,
I would add,
hero,
like,
hub, help.
It's
Got
real.
it.
It's
right,
real.
take those notes.
No, it's real. I feel like it was a whole business strategy he just gave you, sis. I hope you got that.
Thank you.
And I would
in the book,
add
too.
to say, when you're promoting your business, if folks like to see the puppy, why can't the puppy be in the video when you're
Yeah.
talking about the business?
Yeah. Put the
About
swimsuit on the
corporate
puppy.
Daddy, he has
fact
his
that
beautiful
you said
puppy
that-
and everything.
The fact that you said that, I actually did a photo shoot with the puppy in it, and of course everyone was like, "Look at Chloe."
Right, and that's okay.
A girl in the baby.
And like he said, now you use hashtag Chloe, if you will, and get 20% off if you
Right.
off the website. Go to the website
There
and see
you
more
go.
of Chloe.
And the bigger point is
Okay.
being creative when you're promoting your business, being fun, being whatever it is that they want to see. Maybe it's the lifestyle aspect of you, your puppy, whatever it is. Just incorporating that, and like you as a business owner, if you're sharing content about your trials, what you've learned, you know, being helpful in a listicle format and turning that into a carousel or a reel or something like that, people are going to share it, right? Because they're going to find it, you're going to find it helpful. And like another tactic that I've seen is like when you're creating videos and reels, you can take a different picture. Like put a picture of you and your puppy.
Completely different.
Once they click it, they go into the business they didn't
Facts.
even know.
Facts.
So
Facts.
there's ways to get around it. I think we have time for
Strategy.
one more question, then we're gonna have to
I just want to
wrap.
encourage you to push too. Just push, sis. Push. I was remembering your question from yesterday in the beauty segment. Push. Keep pushing.
Hi, my name is Golan Perry, and I'm the co-founder of Independence Home Care Partners. My question is, so prior to this, I used to own a pizza shop in Center City. It was the first black-owned pizza shop in Center City, actually. So
Bro,
I got a lot of recognition for it and a lot of followers for it, right? But now that I own the home healthcare agency, I have a lot of followers over on my personal side because a lot of people are like, hey, G, where's the pizza, where's the wings? I'm not doing that anymore. I'm helping seniors, you know what I'm saying? So how can I get the people who is like about pizza and wings over here to my Independence Home Care without seeming spammy?
look
Like
at
that's
you,
the big
Will.
thing. Like
How you
I don't
gonna
want to come off
handle
as
this?
spammy. Like I want to be like, yo guys, look, pizza's fine, but there's no more pizza. It's old people. Like, so how can I get them to be like shift it over to like You know, but I don't want to come off spammy. That's like my biggest thing.
That's very
spammy. I don't want to make my friends like, yo, G, all right, I got you. You own a home healthcare business, fine. Like, but don't shove it down our throat. So how can I do that without something come off spammy?
I think maybe just being honest about that and maybe sharing that with your audience and not just doing a, completely flip the switch, but I think you can talk about why you made the transition from pizza to healthcare with seniors, right? And maybe make them care about something that they didn't even know they had an interest in. So I think in being upfront and honest with that and telling stories in a way that your audience will be able to identify with. And listen, you might lose some people, and that's okay because you're not selling the same thing that you were selling before.
Facts. But
now you will gain an audience that is true to what you were actually interested in and what you are doing. So don't get caught up on the pizza folks because you're interested in the healthcare folks.
Straight up.
Yeah, I feel like creators specifically, they rebrand a lot, like all the time. And you do lose, honestly, you lose a lot of followers. It's gonna be like the engagement becomes super low. But if you stay consistent with the new thing that you're doing, it's like starting over again. You're gonna eventually find that audience again, and then it's gonna just act like kind of that never existed in a sense. That's what I've seen with a lot of creators that kind of start over and rebrand themselves.
And I've seen Gen Z so good at that.
Yeah.
You guys will create a brand and delete every picture on your Instagram,
And then
start over.
You can't even find it.
I can't. I still have pictures from 2015. I can't let go. I'm like, no, I need them to see that one time I ran into Master P.
I'm like, I want you to see the evolution.
Right, right. But Gen Z, you guys are not so attached to
Yeah.
who you were 2 years ago.
Right.
And they keep rebranding because this is, their era and their generation.
Absolutely.
So I think don't be afraid to, just start all over.
And then we have success with starting over too. Like you just gotta start over. And it's not saying you gotta make a whole new account, but definitely like if this is something you're really passionate about and you see yourself in it for the long term, just start over.
Yeah.
People will find you eventually.
But I do think you owe your audience some sort of like explanation.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because they are, tapped into you, so they want to know what's going on. Tell them.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
So before we let you guys go, I want to end with two things, and we'll go down the line. What are some resources and tools that you would advise for creators looking to make money and build successful businesses? And also, how can we follow you and support any upcoming projects or ventures? We'll start with you, DeAndre.
Yeah, so resources and tools that I would say to use specifically for those looking into TikTok, because that's the field that I've mastered in a sense. It's a book, and I wish I knew who wrote it, and I read it actually. It's called Influencer. Actually, it's a really
Brittany, I can't remember her last
yeah,
name.
Brittany somebody. Brittany something. It's a white cover. You'll see it when you look it up. A really, really good book. I definitely recommend that book. Super helpful. So that's the advice that I'll give for those that are starting, and also doing.
Boom, Brittany Hennessy.
Yeah, and also doing like I mentioned earlier, research, looking at your posts, all the posts that you do make. Looking like maybe on a weekly basis, looking at the analytics, seeing how things perform, which performed the best, and then look at what performed the best and, start trying to see how I can incorporate that again. And then to follow me, it's I'm Dre Brown at really everywhere, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and it's DeAndre Brown on YouTube. So that's me.
Resources and tips to share. I was up here thinking so hard, like, how can I say something other than my book? Because I don't want to sound so self-promoty. But honestly, I want to normalize.
Not the space. Put out the book, bro.
I want to normalize us promoting the things that we create that we're proud of.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say, that book is an incredible resource. So again, it's called Uncommon Sense, Your Strategy Guide to Creative Freedom. I'm really proud of it. You can find it, hit my link in my bio, right? That's the simplest way. And I would say this, for anyone who wants to keep up with my journey, at The Will Toms, T-H-E, Will, last name T-O-M-S. But specifically, Rec is in an expansion mode right now. So I know a lot of y'all are not from Philly, but if you guys are community builders, you're doing things for artists, I would love to talk about how we can bring our model to wherever you're from. So, we're about to open Rec Miami at the end of this year, which we're proud of. So would love to talk to anyone who's interested in figuring out where we're going after that. Thanks, y'all.
Resource-wise, I would encourage people to, if you want to start making money right now, look at affiliate links. And I think that it's, again, so simple, and a simple Google, you can find a bunch of different outlets and resources that offer you coin for the things that you're suggesting to your audience, and it doesn't matter the size of your audience. So I would encourage people to look into affiliate links because so many brands.
So what are affiliate links?
Affiliate links are literally like if you're saying, you know, this watch is great, and you put up a link. If someone looks at it, you could get a coin. If someone buys it, you can get an even bigger coin. So across the board, it's different, but it's a link that's attached to you and your identity. And so every time somebody clicks on it, makes a purchase, you get a piece of that. So I would encourage people to look in affiliate links. I think too many times people wait till they have this really large audience, and you can do it no matter the size of your audience. And yeah, follow me at Kéla Walker, K-E-L-A Walker, across the board on all social media platforms. And I have new episodes of a series that I do with Clio TV coming out soon. So check your local listings and tap in, please, and thank you.
Amazing. I just want to say, you three were phenomenal. Thank you again for being here at Black Enterprise Entrepreneur Summit. Follow me as well, Miss Selena Hill, Mrs. spelled with an M-S. Selena Hill is also on, well, it should have been up there, but just use my name. How many got something out of this? Raise your hand. How many are feeling more inspired, more motivated? How many gonna step outside and make a reel? Y'all
don't overthink it. Don't overthink it. Just post that boy.
Just post it. Just post it like Kayla said. Give it up one more time for the panel.
Use my sound.
You want us to stand or sit? Stand up? Okay.
Stand.